lady I have the absolute honor of introducing has 2 teaching credentials from UCLA and a master's degree in psychology. She is a certified nutritional counselor with over 35 years of experience. She is also the author of 8 books.
Wow.
Including 2 bestsellers, Cool Communication for Parents and Kids, endorsed by Deepak Chopra, Stephen Covey, and, drumroll everyone, Oprah Winfrey. She has been featured on hundreds of radio and TV shows internationally, including Oprah, she is passionate about philanthropy and projects that help women and children all over the world. She's a proud mother of 2 equally amazing children, and they are, and I would love you to help me bring to the stage the incredible Andrea Henkart.
Many of us believe that big is better, more matters, and size is everything. I used to think that way. I thought it had to be really substantial to make a difference. But my very first experience showed me that size doesn't matter, but our actions and our thoughts make all the difference. Now, I don't know what you're thinking about, but what I'm talking about is the act of contribution and giving back. When I was 10 years old, I proclaimed that I was going to adopt every orphan on the planet and have a farm bigger than old McDonald's to house every single lost animal that I could find. But growing up, I was told that if I wanted to open an orphanage in Africa or build a school in Bali, I needed to be financially successful first, and that only big acts of kindness made a difference. Well, all that changed a couple of years ago when I was in a small little village in southern Belize, and I absolutely fell in love with the countryside and the warm-hearted people. I especially fell in love with the children. Those little faces warmed my heart like nothing else. And they loved when I brought them things on my monthly visits. They loved when I brought them kazoos or coloring books. These kids didn't care about iPhones and computers like a lot of kids we know. They were just happy with soccer balls and hula hoops. And one day I was driving through the jungles in Belize with a friend of mine, a local friend, and I saw all these schools, one after the other, and they were absolutely set in the most beautiful settings. There were waterfalls, and the playgrounds were surrounded by these white sand beaches. It was really, really gorgeous. But the one thing I noticed is that there was nothing for the kids to play with. The playgrounds were completely barren. I couldn't understand it. How can there be a place for children with nothing for them to play with? So I asked my friend, what's going on? And he said there was no money allocated for the children. It's like, what? No money for children, no toys, nothing, no swings, nothing in their schools? And all I wanted to do was make a difference. All I wanted to do was help. The problem was I couldn't import swing sets into Belize because, first of all, there were too many schools to fill. The act was too big. And the Belizean government would have taxed me an arm and a leg, and that wouldn't have been possible. And I actually just felt completely helpless. I didn't know what to do. I was absolutely in complete overwhelm. Back then, everything was overwhelming to me. 3.5 years ago, on October 11th, 2011, at 7:30 in the morning, my phone rang. I was married for 32 years to my best friend, and that phone call told me that my husband had just died in a fiery plane crash over the mountains of Mexico. My life stopped. I can feel it right now. I didn't even have words. I was completely thrown off my game. I totally lost my step. I'm still recovering, trying to find my way in the world. How many of you have ever been overwhelmed by something seemingly really big, or frozen by fear that kept you from moving forward? Can you at least relate to that? Thank you. We've all been thrown off our game in life and in business. I'm sure in many areas in your life, many times, big or small. But the question really is, how do we move forward when something hits us, when a curveball is thrown at us? What do we do in the face of adversity? Lorna Jane Clarkson is a businesswoman in Australia, and she said, to achieve great things, you have to take great risks and have the courage to stick to your vision, regardless of what's happening in the world around you. So after sitting on my couch for a full year, eating everything in sight to fill that hole that was in my body, not knowing if I wanted to live or die, the phone rang again. But this time, it was from my big brother from another mother, David Wood. And he was inviting me to his private island in Belize to attend the first class that he was teaching there. And I thought, are you effing insane? I'm sitting here in a ball wanting to die, and you're inviting me to an island. I couldn't imagine traveling anywhere without my husband. I couldn't imagine packing a bag and going anywhere. But he doesn't take no for an answer. It was really hard for me to say yes, but I finally did. And when I got there, on this beautiful island, I was completely shut down. David, of course, asked me to stay open. And because I stayed open, sometimes, little bits of insight and opportunity began trickling in. And I'm so grateful to Jen because she reminded me how much I love yoga. And the island reminded me how much I love music and dancing and drumming. And David gave me the opportunity to be surrounded by like-minded people and have fun again. And what I ended up doing is I ended up raising money on Facebook because I wanted to give back to those children. I needed something to move me out of that situation. And I kept going back to that island every single month for a full year. And it was those children, that smile I talked about, that I wanted to reach. So I raised money on Facebook from family and friends, and a lot of you in this room participated in that, so thank you for that. And I hired local help, and we ended up building and installing 7 swing sets and monkey bars and planting 8 shade trees in those impoverished schools in southern Belize. And the other thing that's really, really cool is that the guy I hired, he hired his father-in-law to work with him. The father-in-law was able to take 2 days off And took his little rowboat and went on a fishing trip. He filled that rowboat full of fish, brought it back to the village, and sold some of it, gave some of it away. So we actually ended up feeding a village as well. So thank you guys for that. And just a couple of the other things that I've done, from there I just keep finding ways to give back to the children. I got to hold newborn babies in a birthing center in Bali, and I can't wait to get to the Shanghai Healing Home in China to hold those cleft palate babies, to just pour love into them because they're waiting for their surgery so they can be eligible for adoption. Those are the kind of things, the acts of kindness that really, really warm my heart and heal my heart. What is it that creates that opening that fills your heart? William Bochker said, "The individual activity of one man with backbone will do more than 1,000 men with a mere wishbone." Your act of kindness doesn't have to be big. It doesn't even have to cost money. You can donate blood, you can mentor a child, you can serve soup at a soup kitchen for homeless people, or just be kind to yourself. What's important is to not stay stuck where you are now. That was what was important for me, and not let my failures define me. So just focus on where you want to go from here. You know, every day we have the opportunity to lift people up and support them, and create random acts of kindness locally and globally. And as leaders, we have the opportunity to demonstrate true leadership. The leadership that the world's waiting to see. Compassionate leadership, courageous leadership, unselfish leadership, leadership that serves something greater than ourselves. Great leaders don't lead because they have all the answers and breakthroughs. And you don't need a title or a rank to be a leader. You just need the courage to step forward, take action, even when you're crumbling inside. And we have an opportunity here because we've received so much from all these incredible speakers. For me, I know that I just want to know that I can make a difference. And remember, that difference doesn't have to be big. It can be small. It can be just talking to someone next to you, smiling to one person today who didn't get smiled at. Now, I was hesitant to share this story because I don't want it to define me. What I really hope for is that the conversations we have together moving forward are about positivity and what we can do together in the world on a small scale or a big scale. Because with the power that we have in this room, the knowledge that we have together in this room, the love that we have together in this room, we can make a magnificent difference on this planet. Thank you all so much. Thank you. Thank you.